Somewhere, a Disney executive is crying into their Coke because they accidentally approved something with actual substance. Right then, Star Wars aficionados, settle in, because today we're talking about something that doesn't happen very often in this godforsaken timeline. Disney actually made decent Star Wars content. I know. Hell has officially frozen over. Pigs are flying, and somewhere a Disney executive is crying into their Coke because they accidentally approved something with actual substance. We're diving into Andor Season 1, and before you start rolling your eyes thinking, oh Christ, another Star Wars review, just hang on a minute. This isn't your typical Disney dross, where they've taken a beloved franchise and systematically murdered it like a serial killer with daddy issues. This is, well, actually quite good. It's shocking, I know. For those living under a rock or exclusively watching reality TV, which, fair enough, we all have our vices, no judgment here. Andor is a prequel series focusing on Cassian Andor, the rebel spy from Rogue One. You know, the movie that actually understood what Star Wars could be when it wasn't trying to sell Happy Meals to 8-year-olds. The series follows Cassian's journey from petty thief, well, he's a pretty boy anyway, isn't he, to dedicated rebel, set 5 years before the events of Rogue One. And here's the thing that will knock you on your arse. It's actually made for adults. Real, live adults. Not the type who collect Funko Pops and argue about superhero movies on Twitter. First off, Andor doesn't hold your hand like a toddler crossing the street. The dialogue isn't exposition-heavy garbage where characters explain things they should already know just for the audience's benefit. People talk like actual human beings, not walking Wikipedia articles. This show assumes you can follow a plot without having everything spelled out for you in crayon. There are political machinations, corporate corruption, and moral ambiguity. Concepts that apparently terrified Disney executives for years. It's like they finally realised their audience might have developed beyond the mental capacity of a goldfish. Diego Luna returns as Cassian Andor, and thank fuck for that, because the man can actually act. Despite the heavily accented English, hold on, says the incomprehensible Scottish guy. He brings a world-weary gravitas to the role that feels earned, not like he's reading lines off a teleprompter while thinking about his mortgage payments. But the star of the show has to be Stellan Skarsgård as Luthen Rael. He is brilliant, just absolutely brilliant. He plays a character who's essentially antique dealer by day and revolutionary coordinator by night. The man could read a kid's bedtime story and make it sound ominous and meaningful. Adria Arjona as Bix. She brings actual depth to what could have just been a thankless love interest role. These people feel like real individuals with actual motivations, not cardboard cutouts designed to sell merchandise. The production design is absolutely stunning. The worlds feel lived in and authentic, not like they were built yesterday on a soundstage in Burbank. Ferrix, Cassian's homeworld, feels like a real place where real people might actually live and work, complete with the grime and wear you'd expect. The costumes, the sets, the practical effects, everything feels tangible. It's like they remembered that Star Wars used to be about creating believable worlds, not just green screen playgrounds for overpaid directors to ponce about in. And here's a radical concept. Andor actually has something to say. It's about the cost of resistance, the price of freedom, and how ordinary people become revolutionaries. The Empire isn't just moustache-twirling evil for evil's sake. They're a bureaucratic nightmare that crushes people through systematic oppression. The show explores themes of sacrifice, moral compromise, and the question of whether the ends justify the means. Heavy stuff for a franchise that's been coasting on nostalgia and Baby Yoda memes for the better part of a decade. Now, let's not pretend this series doesn't have some issues. The pacing can be slower than a strawberry ripening in a Scottish summer, and that's saying something. Some episodes feel like they're in no particular hurry to get anywhere, content to meander like a drunk tourist in Edinburgh. The first few episodes especially take their sweet time setting things up. If you're expecting constant action and explosions, you're going to be disappointed. This is more of a slow burn, which is fine, but sometimes it feels like that burn is happening in geological time. Despite its generally mature approach, Andor occasionally lapses into Disney brand sentimentality. There are moments where the emotional manipulation becomes a bit too obvious, like when a filmmaker realises they haven't made you cry in a while, decides to remedy that with all the subtlety of a cherry bomb down a toilet. Some of the inspirational speeches veer dangerously close to Hallmark card territory. It's not frequent enough to ruin the experience, but it's noticeable when it happens, like finding a hair in your soup. I don't mean the rabbit type hair. That would actually be okay in soup, I think. Anyway, the ending does suffer a bit from middle chapter syndrome. While it works as a conclusion to Cassian's initial transformation, it's clearly setting up pieces for season 2 in ways that can feel slightly forced. The cliffhanger is effective, but you can almost see the writer's room with a big whiteboard that says Season 2 Setup written in big letters at the top. But let's be brutally honest, the bar for Disney Star Wars content has been set so low it's practically underground. After the sequel trilogy's narrative train wreck and various TV shows that felt like expensive fan fiction, actually competent storytelling feels revolutionary. Unlike the Book of Boba Fett, which somehow made one of the most intriguing characters in Star Wars boring, or Obi-Wan Kenobi, which had more plot holes than a colander, Andor actually respects both its characters and its audience. The Mandalorian started strong but devolved into cute baby sells toys fairly quickly. Andor, by contrast, maintains its adult perspective throughout. There are no adorable creatures designed by marketing committees here, yet. The 3-episode arc on Aldhani is particularly strong, functioning almost like a mini heist film within the larger series. The planning, execution and consequences of the rebel operation feel weighty and meaningful. Episode 6, The Eye, is probably the series' high point, a tense, brilliantly executed piece of television that would work even if you removed all the Star Wars elements. It's just good storytelling, period. The prison arc on Narkina 5 is another highlight, exploring themes of oppression and resistance in ways that feel relevant without being too heavy-handed about modern parallels. The technical stuff. Cinematography is genuinely cinematic, not made for TV cinematic, but actually worthy of a cinema screen. The action sequences are clearly shot and edited, and not the incomprehensible shaky cam nonsense that's infected so much modern media. Looking at you, Michael and JJ. The sound design deserves special mention. The blasters actually sound like classic Star Wars weapons, not the generic pew pew garbage from some of the other Disney productions. And the score by Nicholas Britell manages to feel distinctly Star Wars while establishing its own identity. It's not just John Williams karaoke. The secret sauce here appears to be respect. Respect for the source material, respect for the audience, and respect for the craft of storytelling. Creator Tony Gilroy and his team clearly understand what made Star Wars compelling in the first place. Interesting characters in a lived-in universe facing real stakes. They've also embraced the war part of Star Wars in ways that films have largely avoided. This feels like actual resistance against, well, I call it stable government, but others might call it fascism. Not family-friendly adventure with laser swords. Look, I'm the last one that's going to blow sunshine up your arse and pretend Andor is perfect television. It's not. The pacing issues are real, and it occasionally trips over its own good intention. But here's the thing. It's the best Star Wars content Disney has produced, and that's not even close. It's made for adults who can handle complex themes and moral ambiguity. It treats its characters like real people and its audience like functional human beings. And if you've been burned by recent Star Wars content, and let's face it, who hasn't? Andor might just restore a bit of your faith. It's proof that this universe can still tell meaningful stories when the right people are involved. Is it worth watching? Absolutely. Is it perfect? No. But in a landscape littered with corporate committee-designed entertainment, competent storytelling here feels like a bloody miracle. The series sets up Season 2 nicely, and for once, I'm actually looking forward to seeing where they take things. In the current state of franchise entertainment, that alone is worth celebrating. Andor succeeds because it remembers something the rest of modern Star Wars seems to have forgotten. Good characters and good writing can carry a story without relying on nostalgia and fan service every 5 minutes. It's a mature, thoughtful piece of science fiction that happens to be set in the Star Wars universe, rather than a Star Wars product masquerading as storytelling. That distinction matters more than you might think. So there you have it. Andor Season 1 gets a solid recommendation from this grumpy bastard. It's not often I can say that about anything Disney touches these days, so savour this moment. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go lie down. All this positivity about Disney content is giving me a headache. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and, may the force be with you. Assuming it hasn't been corrupted by corporate focus groups yet. I'm great.
A grumpy Scot with a pint in hand, ripping through films like a one-man band. Snarky cinema where the burns are hot, honest reviews you'll never forgot. Oh hey oh, hey, let the truth be told. No sugar here, it's biting and bold. With smirk and a scowl and a hearty laugh, the grumpy Scot is here to riff your craft. Remakes to sequels gone wrong, he'll tear them apart all video long. But if it's a gem, he'll tip his hat. Rare moments when praise comes from this cat. From cringe remakes to sequels gone wrong, he'll tear them apart all video long. But if it's a gem, he'll tip his hat. Rare moments when praise comes from this cat. Snark so sharp, it'll cut through steel. Honesty that you can taste and feel. No fluff, no fuss, it's a Scottish creed. For brutal truth, the world does plead. Oh hey oh, hey, let the truth be told. No sugar here, it's biting and bold. With a smirk and a scowl and a hearty laugh, the grumpy Scot is here to riff your craft. So grab your popcorn and duck for cover. It's cinema chats with a twist to discover. Snarky Scot with reviews that sting, a brutally honest movie rating king.